Weg. Nog weer weg.
Oké. Goed, we zijn live volgens mij. We hadden even wat problemen met het geluid. Maar het is nu allemaal opgelost. Welkom bij de livestream van Kijken en Koken vanuit de Atjestraat in de Archipelbuurt. Waarom doen we dit vandaag? Omdat, nou iedereen weet het, Nederland en de rest van de wereld is struck by corona, om het maar in het Engels te zeggen. En er zijn in Nederland een heleboel mensen die niet genoeg voedsel hebben. Het zijn vooral ook ongedocumenteerde mensen die een baantje hadden in de informele economie. En dat baantje zijn kwijtgeraakt door corona. Nu is er gelukkig het Rode Kruis die voedselhulp verstrekt. En die mensen van voedsel voorziet, ook in de decembermaand, als wij allemaal aan een rijkelijke dish zitten met onze familie. Een beetje kleine gemeenschap natuurlijk, vanwege corona. Maar wij vinden dus dat iedereen in Nederland het Rode Kruis zou moeten steunen om ervoor te zorgen dat niet alleen wij aan onze rijkelijk gevulde dish, aan onze rijkelijk gevulde tafel, maar ook de mensen die geen voedsel hebben, het beter krijgen in december. En daarom roepen wij mensen op via deze kookles van Vandana op om geld te storten op de rekening van het Rode Kruis. Goed, nou dat is even een lange introductie. Vandana, hello. Namaste. Kun je iets over jezelf vertellen?
Yeah, I'm Vandana. I was born and brought up in India. And I moved to the Netherlands in 1998. That's a long time ago. Together with my Dutch husband, who I met, and we got married in New Delhi. And he got transferred because of his work. So since then we've been living here in the Netherlands.
Yeah, and I know, I heard, I've seen, I tasted food. I know that food is very important in your life. Can you tell us why exactly?
I have always loved food, not only eating but also cooking, and I especially love to experiment with the food from different parts of the world. And personally I believe, and I'm sure you will share that too with me, that food, like music, brings people together. And I have been lucky enough to enchant my family and my friends with the food that I prepare, and also in this bargain made lots of new friends. And we even have a saying, which everybody knows, that the way to somebody's heart is through the stomach. So what best than the food in itself?
Ja, de liefde gaat door de maag, dat zeggen we in Nederland ook. So are you going to prepare us a hot and spicy Indian dish today?
Peter, that's very interesting, because the moment people see an Indian person and they talk about food, the only word which comes into people's mind is the word curry, what you say. And here I would like to clarify a certain myth which goes with our Indian food. First and the foremost thing, we don't have anything as per se called curry. I mean, there is a spice, there's a herb called curry patta, curry leaf. But for us, curry means a dish which is with sauce or gravy. And then the second part, the question that you said was hot and spicy. It's a wrong notion that Indian food is very spicy. It's not, because at home when we prepare food traditionally, we use very marginal, red chili pepper. So, but we do use a lot of other spices, and it's not that we have things like cumin, coriander, cardamom, you name it, and there are lots of spices. And it's not that we don't want to use red chili powder. I mean, there are times that I love to have a okra dish, and without red chili pepper, I might as well throw it in the dustbin. So yes,
really?
So that's about Indian food.
Okay. And what are you going to prepare for us today and teach the viewers?
Today I'm going to show you how to prepare a vegetable curry.
A vegetable curry.
That means vegetable in the tomato sauce. And there are, just to demonstrate that how do we use all the spices that we have and in what stages, and it's not as complicated as people think it is. So I hope people are also ready who are having the ingredients back at home to also join me in preparing this dish.
Okay, great. And you're gonna tell us something about the ingredients?
Yes.
We have a special video for this. Can we look at that video now?
Yeah, sure. Today I'm going to prepare a vegetable curry. It's the vegetables in tomato sauce. And here are the ingredients that you will be needing to prepare the dish. To start with, I have here some of the vegetables, and you can use any vegetables which are available or which you like. For example, broccoli, beans, carrots, celery and capsicum, even the eggplant. If you don't want to use any of the vegetables, you can always replace it with something else, or also with chicken or fish or whatever. Then we have the 4 ingredients which are the base to prepare curry, and that's onion, ginger, garlic and tomatoes. Then we have lots of spices. In India we have nearly around 25 spices at home, but these are few of the spices which you can use. They are salt, turmeric, cumin powder, coriander powder, black pepper, red chili powder, together with full spices, and these are with the cardamom, cinnamon, star anise, bay leaf, and obviously no dish will be ready without the use of the oil, and that is mainly vegetable oil that we use because it's supposed to be, we can use a hot oil. Right, to begin with, we need a pan, and what we do is we take vegetable oil. We especially use the vegetable oil and not olive oil per se, because it's very important for the dish to have a very hot oil, and olive oil you don't want to do it.
But olives is vegetable, no?
No, because there's the point with olive oil is that you cannot heat it to a really high temperature, so that's why.
So you use peanut oil or?
We can use vegetable oil or sunflower oil. People do use also coconut oil, so you can do it, but I would not use a coconut oil when I'm not preparing a dish which does not require coconut, otherwise you have the smell. So basically clear oil.
And this is what we would call a wok pan.
Yes, a wok or a pan, or even we can use the pressure cookers, you can use anything. We start, the oil has to be very hot.
How do you know?
Well, we use all our senses. So what we do is also not only that you see that the flames are going up, but you can also test and put something, an ingredient, for example garlic or whatever, and when it starts to bubble means it's very hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start with
Refresh.
we start with using just to make sure.
Maar zij moeten refreshen. Ja, maar gaan we door.
Yeah.
Oh, zij moet refreshen.
So we start with using garlic. That's very important. Are we doing it?
Yeah, just continue.
Okay. And
Go.
yeah, those are the full spices. And just make sure that the garlic is golden brown, because if it's not golden brown and it's sort of pink, you taste and you smell the rawness. Once it's a bit brown, add onions to it.
Ja, het geluid doet het, hè?
Taste and you smell the rawness.
Ja.
Once it's a bit brown, add
Maar laat mij maar even.
Again, make sure that the onions are also getting a bit brown. There's a reason why we want them to turn brown, because if it's pink or not very well fried, then you will see in the end that the onions are actually floating in the sauce, and that's one thing which we don't want. And second thing, also when you brown the onions or caramelize the onions, it has a very sweet taste and flavor to the sauce. Right. I just have to wait for a minute. This is the only time I think while preparing food that we talk about patience. The first 5 minutes of cooking is the time that you have to have patience.
So these are the onions and a couple of spices.
Yes, all the raws,
And why is it important to bring in the spices at this order?
First of all, like what I said, it has to be hot oil, because once the oil is hot and you put the full spices, it helps that you don't have to peel all the cardamoms and the cinnamons and stuff. Second thing, with the hot oil, it's easy to fry. Not only easy to fry onions and garlic, but also, not because only of the caramelization, but also if it's not very hot, then it consumes, it soaks a lot of oil, the vegetables and the dishes. So it's better to fry them very well.
Because we want to stay
healthy.
thin. Healthy.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's a new notion for me, that if the oil is not hot enough, it gets into the vegetables, and then the vegetables are getting too greasy.
Yeah, and it takes also a long time
it's
to
like,
caramelize.
but if you compare it to patat in Holland,
exactly, indeed, that's
you
it.
get very fat patat.
Exactly, that's
if
exactly.
the oil is not hot.
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
Okay.
So here we are.
So that's one thing I learned.
Yeah, perfect. I'm so glad. I hope you learn more things than just one after this cookery workshop. All right, it's nearly getting there, but like what I said, it takes some time, patience, because onions have a bit of water in them, so that's why it reduces the temperature, so it takes more time in...
I see. Yeah, I'm sorry we don't have a camera on top, like in modern TV cook studios.
I hope I can show it like this. Here we are.
Okay.
At the moment,
So
it's not later
nice
on.
and bubbly.
Yeah. Okay. There we are. Once this is brown, golden brown or caramelized, that's the time we put some dry spices. And dry spices, like what we said, very important. I mean, people here may say that we don't want to use salt because it's not good for our health or whatever, but I think salt is one of the most important ingredients in any food, not only just Indian food, because salt enhances the flavors of all the other spices. So if you have all these cardamom, cinnamon, you name it, and you don't put salt, you won't have that flavor of the spices, then you might as well not use them. So we start with the salt.
Ooh, some people in Holland might be scared.
Well, the reason when you say you are scared is also, I have to clarify, because we are going to be using a lot of vegetables. We are talking of nearly 600 to 700 grams of vegetable. Second thing, it's all fresh. So I'm not using anything which is tin, because normally when you buy tin stuff, they have salt in it.
I see.
So you don't see the salt, but you are using a lot of salt. So
some people say if we don't think it's salty enough, we can put in the salt afterwards.
That's again like what I explained, that your spices have to be fried and to enhance the flavors. So when in the end you say, oh, let me just put the salt and spread it, it's not actually evenly spread. So there is a remedy, and that is take another pan, small pan, fry up the salt or any spices that you've mixed and add it on.
Fry up the salt?
Yes.
Okay.
This is what you're also doing here. You're frying the salt so that you have
that's the news.
Okay,
that's the second thing I learned.
Perfect. Well, I'll have to
You can fry salt.
Yeah, I'm just going to see how much. That's turmeric that I've put.
And did you choose the species spices because of the colors, or?
Yes, the turmeric actually gives the yellow color, and not only just, it doesn't have any taste or flavor as such, but the reason also is that it also has a very, therapeutic value of the spices, especially the turmeric, is it acts as an antiseptic. So we like to use that because that's a nice way.
Okay, can you excuse me 1 minute, because I'm opening the door, because it's getting very hot in the studio here. Yeah, it's not only because of the spices.
Okay.
So I'm back.
Here we are. So I've used cumin powder, coriander powder, bit of chili powder, and turmeric and salt. And that's the time. Can you smell, Peter, now?
Wow, it smells very strong.
That is the sign. You're using the other sense, which says this is the time, because normally you need at least a minute or two so that the spices are fried well.
It also means that I don't have corona.
Thank God for it.
Well, to the people who are watching us, we can tell we are in the same bubble, huh?
Yeah,
so
indeed.
that we are maybe at 1 meter distance of each other.
True.
And so now you're putting this
tomatoes.
Is fresh tomato.
Yeah, these are fresh tomatoes. We do everything. We use the skin, we use the seeds. We don't peel, except for the core, the clock house.
Yeah, clock house.
Except for that clock house, we use everything which is...
and you sort of mashed it, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I finely chopped it.
You chopped
finely
it.
chopped
Finely
it.
chopped it.
And but again, if you want to use, you can also make a shortcut. You can also use tinned tomatoes from Albertine. I mean, you can do that, but again, that will have salt in it.
That will have salt.
And the like what I had explained in the video too, the tomatoes is one thing which gives the gravy, and also it gives a sour taste to the food. So it has this tangier taste to the food. So if you don't have tomatoes, you can use yogurt. If you don't have yogurt, you could use tamarind or lemon. So those are the ingredients that you can do. So you can be those can be replaced. Yeah.
I sometimes make a curry myself, and I am sort of an amateur in that, and I use this bottled
Ketchup.
No, patak. The patak curry paste.
Okay.
Okay, but that's cursing in the
Indian
church.
house.
In the church, vloeken in the kerk.
Yeah.
But when I think it's too spicy, I put in some yogurt.
Yeah, that mellows down.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, that mellows down also the spices. What we do is also that, which you'll see later on, once the full dinner is ready and we are eating, always on the dining table, we'll have pickles. Because if people think this is not spicy enough, we have pickles and achar to make it sharp.
And mango pickle is very strong.
Exactly, depends again.
Yeah.
And there'll always be yogurt, because because of its freshness, and second thing, to mellow down the heat of the food. So that can also be done. I see that the tomatoes are now nearly done. The way to see that it's done is that it starts to release oil and it's become soft. If it's still very hard, you have to cook, because it shouldn't be a floaty substance or a chunk that you're eating, because tomatoes are the gravy. So that's why it's very important that it's cooked very well. Okay. Alright, shall I show?
Yeah.
Here it shows the curry is ready. And now once the curry is ready, then we use all the vegetables that we want to have. So if you say, I don't like a particular vegetable, feel free, but I've added broccoli.
We have the recipe on the website, huh?
Yes,
later on, and then you can see, you can choose your own vegetables.
Yeah, indeed.
I would choose spruitjes, for instance.
Yeah, you can. Why not?
Is that,
Why not?
Yeah?
Anything.
Okay.
It's all about you.
Do they know spruitjes in India?
Brussels sprouts,
Maybe not.
Not that I mean, the closest I can think about is the cabbage, but that's the big one, right? But that's mini version. Yeah, indeed. The mini versions we don't have. So I use.
So there's still an opportunity to export spruitjes to India. You just remember 1.3 billion people who don't know spruitjes yet.
Yeah.
So we can make spruitjes.
Maybe they just say, oh, these are cabbage which still have to grow.
Okay. Well, now it's turning into a very nice melange.
Yeah, indeed. So you mix all the vegetables, and I think what is important in our dish is, unlike here, I mean, it's not like you say, oh, the potatoes need more time to cook, so let's put the potatoes first, and then once it's a bit soft, then we add the cauliflower or the capsicum. We don't do that, because the idea is to put all the vegetables, and so that the spices engulf each and every vegetable. So the only thing you have to ensure is that when you chop, that they are in such a manner that things like beans, which you don't want to be very mushy or whatever, you leave them big, and if you are using potatoes, you slice them thin, so that they all are cooked together at the same time.
But this way, you didn't cook anything before?
No. Here we are. So this is, and here today we are using the vegetables, but if you say, I want to use chicken or fish or a mixture of chicken with eggplant and courgette, anything that you want, this is the time that you do that. Mix it well so that all the spices are engulfed. Yeah, there we are. I hope people can see.
I will put photos of that on the website.
Okay. Once this is done, and then is the time for the curry part, the sauce.
Yeah.
And we put
water.
We put in water. Depends. I mean, if you're having the curry for the rice, so you want the curry to be a bit more liquidy, you put more water.
Okay.
If you want it to be eaten only with the rotis, the Indian bread, you put less of water. This is it. Instead of water, you can also use, to make food rich or taste as per coconut, you can put coconut water or paste of almond puree, so that you want to make it like a rich dish.
Okay,
So
okay.
anything
So,
with a
so
liquid.
don't be scared to experiment.
Indeed, indeed.
Okay.
So I put, because we have a bit of rice in the end, so I put some water, a bit more because we have rice. And remember, when you're putting the water, especially with the vegetables, because vegetables have water of their own, so you have to keep that in mind, that it shouldn't become very watery.
Okay.
So once this is done, looks very nice and great.
So where did you get this recipe? Did you get it from your mother or from your auntie or?
I think probably from my mother, who must have got it from her mother, but also from my friends. I think it's just the stage. I mean, it's not about one particular recipe. It's what our tastes are, and we grow with that. And like what I said, we can change it any time and every time. So, but the method of preparing, how to use the spices and which stages to use the spices has been taught, and we grow that.
Okay, okay.
Water has been put, and now you close, cover it up with a lid. Make sure it's not a full cover, because if you cover it fully, then the steam of the thing will also lead to more water. So make sure there's a bit of
That steam can go out.
a
Yeah.
bit.
Okay.
And this helps, and this is it. And we just have to now wait till our vegetables are done.
Yeah.
So,
I think we have people already calling us
wow, impressive.
with questions
Oh.
because we are being watched nationwide. And who is on the line?
Lydia, jij moet het nog even uitzetten. We hebben hier Lydia Zwiersanski.
Lydia Zwiersanski,
hi, Lydia.
bekende naam.
Hi Lydia.
Hallo Lydia.
Ja, hallo.
Oh, daar ben
Hallo.
je. Ja. Waar woon je?
Ik woon in Limburg.
In Limburg. Oké.
Okay,
Nou, dat is
that's
leuk.
very
Ja,
nice,
ja.
thank you.
En eet jullie er veel Indiaas eten?
Nee, niet zoveel.
Oh, niet zoveel. Maar goed, dat
Ik maak
gaat.
het niet zelf. Ik maak het nooit zelf. Ik ga wel eens in het ziekenhuis naar een Nederlands Indiaans restaurantje.
Oh, oké.
Oké.
Maar goed, dat gaat allemaal veranderen. Lydia, mogen we weten wat jouw vraag is?
Nou, mijn vraag is, wat is nou een echte Indiaanse maaltijd?
Now that's a very interesting question. Ik hoop het is oké, Lydia, dat ik in Engels antwoord geef.
Ja.
Ja.
Okay, thank you.
Dat is goed.
Thank you very much, and thanks first of all being the first caller for this question answer session. Coming back to your question, it's very interesting. Let me turn the table and ask you one question, because you say, what is a real Indian dish? What if I ask you, what is a real European dish? What would you say? I know.
Ja, een curry.
Nee, curry, nee, Europees. Wat is een Europees gerecht?
Stamppot.
Stamppot. Okay.
Ja, oké.
Yeah, it's a tricky
Oké,
question.
je hebt een goede smaak
Ja.
tegenwoordig.
Dat komt vlees.
Ja, en in andere landen in Europa?
Nou, spaghetti.
Yeah, indeed, and that's what I want to explain, because when you say what is a real European dish, you cannot define. Similarly, for India, you have to imagine that India is a very huge country, and all the food and the traditions which go with the Indian food are also as big as the country. And it's like comparing the north of Indian food to a Scandinavian food, and south of Indian food to Italian food. So when you say what is a real Indian dish, it's not such an easy answer. And I come back to one point, and that is that not only the regions, but there are lots of other factors which influence our food. We have history, we have the regions where we are, south of India, north, east of India, and we have also religion. Say Hindus are vegetarian per se, so there are too many things to say which is a real Indian food. For example, the vegetable curry that I've just made, which you've just seen, is a recipe which is more from north of India, where I grew up. And but same vegetable curry can be made in south of India by my sister-in-law who lives in Bangalore, and but she puts coconut because that's readily available. So both the vegetable curries are Indian, and it's very difficult to say which is a real Indian dish. So I hope I've been able to give you a bit of a
Ja.
help.
Ja, daar valt nog een wereld te verkennen voor jou, Lydia. Dankjewel. En succes met je. En succes met je. Ja, je kunt het straks nog allemaal naluisteren hoor, want de opname van deze uitzending blijft op de website staan. Dus dan kun je nog eens even langzaam afdraaien, zeg maar.
Ja,
Want we praten allebei een beetje snel. Ja.
hartelijk dank.
Ja, hartelijk dank. Ja. Ik geloof dat er nog andere bellers komen. Daar wordt nog contact mee gezocht. Zullen we even kijken hoe het met het eten is? Dat is lekker aan het worden.
Ja.
En hoe weet je nou dat het goed is eigenlijk? How do you know it's okay, it's done?
Well, if you want, you can taste, because people normally taste and see whether the spices are right or the salt is right. I know it because of experience, so there we are. But I have to wait because the only thing is that I put here some cauliflower and the eggplants. I mean, even if the capsicum or the carrots are crunchy, it's okay. But cauliflower especially needs to be a bit soft, because if it's not soft, it tends to prepare more of gas in your stomach. So,
Oh, really?
yes, so that's why it's important to have better, that's exactly what you learn while you cook it. So it's not like one day cooking session and you learn about it. Yeah.
Oké. En hoe lang moet het nu nog koken?
This may take 10 minutes. So if you're making fish, it's probably also another 10 minutes cooking like this.
Yeah.
But if you're making beef or pork or that will take a lot, or lamb, it may take at least half an hour. So you just have to wait and just make sure that you keep stirring it from time to time and checking whether the water is there, because if it's too dry, then add a bit of water.
Ja, ik hoor in mijn oortje dat de controlekamer zegt dat er weer een beller is. Wie is deze beller? Hallo?
Hallo, ja, Ron Bezemer.
Ron Bezemer. Welkom in de live uitzending. Waar kom je vandaan?
Ik kom uit Driebergen.
Oh, uit Driebergen, oké. En wat is je vraag?
Nou, mijn vraag is eigenlijk deze, of het koken van een Indiase maaltijd inderdaad zo ingewikkeld is als ik heb gehoord dat mensen zeggen. Die vertellen me soms dat het dagen duurt om zo'n maaltijd klaar te maken. Is dat ook waar?
Ja, nou, heb je de vraag gehoord? Hij denkt dat het heel ingewikkeld is om een Indiase maaltijd klaar te maken, soms wel dagen. Maar ja, we hebben eigenlijk al gedemonstreerd dat het niet zo is.
Yeah. But again, thanks for calling, Ron. And I just wanted to say that, well, you've just seen how we prepared literally within 10 minutes. I mean, now it's still taking 10 more extra minutes, but you can prepare a dish which is simple, which is not dramatically complicated as what people imagine that the Indian food is. But again, we have lots of dishes. So traditionally what we eat every day is very simple. But if it's a festive things and we want to prepare biryani or a barbecue, so kebabs and stuff, so it doesn't take 3 days or whatever, but it does need time for the food and the spices to marinate. So it's the same like when you want to prepare a barbecue, you marinate the meat and keep it for a few hours so that the spices are properly engulfed with the dishes. So it's not complicated. I think it's just a wrong notion that goes with it, that Indian food is very complicated to prepare.
I think it also depends on the time you have and you want to spend. Because I remember with you we celebrate Diwali.
Yes.
But this year not because of Corona. But the other days we were in a group, like 30 people.
Yeah.
Diwali, that was lichtjesfeest, that was Vorig weekend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was last Sunday.
30 mensen. And how long were you busy with that?
Yeah, I think that's the only time of the year that I, like what I had earlier said, I love cooking. And I love cooking for my family and friends. But I don't take days when Peter comes through for dinner. I don't make such an effort of preparing it for 10 days so that the dish is ready. But yes, for Diwali, it's a very festive period. It's like Christmas here in the West. So I do take at least 3 days to prepare, but those 3 days that's the only time when I prepare at least 40 dishes. And
40 dishes. 40.
40. It can also be 35, I mean, it doesn't matter. But I make everything, including the juices, the desserts, everything at home.
Mango, yeah, lassi.
Also,
Lassi, yeah.
and barfi, laddus, I mean, you name it. So that's a long thing, but because I'm doing it on my own, so it takes time for me also to do chopping and shopping. So it does take 3 days, but that's the only time. But if I was to make Diwali food back at home, it would again take 1 day, because then you have the help of your mother, your sisters, your others around. So you don't
And the
need...
men cook also?
For Diwali, yes.
Oh, okay.
For Diwali, yes.
only.
Yes,
Once a year, men
my
cook
brother is
also.
very good cook. Not that he cooks every day, but when he cooks, sometimes I have to say, wow, he cooks better than I do. So
Okay.
yeah. Ja.
Dat was het dan, Ron. Dankjewel. Ben je tevreden met het antwoord?
Ja, dat is wel duidelijk. Het kan wel ingewikkeld zijn, heb ik begrepen. Maar dat hoeft het dus niet te zijn. Het hangt kennelijk van de situatie af. Nee, bedankt voor het antwoord.
Oké,
Dank je.
tot je dienst en eet smakelijk. Oké, nou we komen zo langzamerhand al denk ik aan het einde van voor het officiële kook
Yeah.
gebeuren.
The stew is taking some time. The cauliflower.
Wilt u niet? Wel maar.
Looks good.
Ja.
Wait for another 5 minutes.
Ja. Hebben we nog tijd voor... dan sluit het eigenlijk helemaal even af nu.
Ja.
Want dit is dan het officiële gedeelte. Maar dan
that
hebben we nog
one
net tijd
served.
voor 1 beller, begrijp ik. Met wie hebben we het genoegen?
Ja, hallo.
Welkom bij Kijken en Koken.
Ja, goedemiddag. U spreekt met Van Heusden. Ja, ik vind dit een geweldig initiatief, maar ja, dit soort recepten, ja, dat is eigenlijk veel te ingewikkeld voor mij. Als u begrijpt wat ik bedoel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very complicated.
Yeah, I can imagine. If you have never made it before, it may sound like a very complicated dish, but I think more experience and the more you try out, it's not so very difficult. But yes, understand.
Yeah, but yes, I understand.
Thank you.
But maybe you can demonstrate something a bit more simple, you know. So, for example, how to bake an egg.
Hij asked you how to bake an egg.
Really? Okay.
Meent u dat nou?
Yes, ja, want het is voor veel mensen al een hele opgave hè, van een ei. Want welk ei moet je hebben? Een wit of een bruin exemplaar? En moet dat dan vrij in- en uitloop zijn? Of van opgehokte pluimvee of van kippen met een enkelband? Want ja, veel mensen die stranden al in de supermarkt van de keuzestress, de stress of choice.
You really mean it?
Maar meneer Van Heugden was het geloof ik. Maar u kunt er eigenlijk wel van uitgaan dat alles wat in de winkel ligt, dat gewoon vers is hoor. En tenminste, daar mag je dan van uitgaan, dus u kunt alles kiezen.
Ja, nou ja, dat is al een hele geruststelling. Maar ja, dan komt het volgende, hè, van hoe krijg je zo'n ei, of beter de inhoud daarvan, want je weet ook niet precies Ja, netjes in de koekenpan, zodat er stukjes van de schaal meekomen. Want die krijg je dan weer in je mond en tussen je tanden of kunstgebit. Of zonder dat je handen vol met ei ergens eruit komen te zitten. Zonder dat de keuken een bende wordt.
I really can imagine that sometimes some things like that can be surely challenging.
Ja. Nou ja, er gaat nog een andere beller komt naar binnen.
You know, I'm very old. I'm 92, so I will never learn that. You know, and now with Corona,
Yes.
all the restaurants closed, and I can't. You know what an uitsmijter is?
Yes.
To eat the uitsmijter, you know, and with two very nice yellow sunnies on it, you know, like like a smiley.
Yeah, the sunny side up. Yes.
Ja.
Well, I
We have to
think we
continue.
have to.
Ja,
I think. Thank you very much for your call, Mr. Van der Heusten. The only thing I can say is, with Christmas approaching, maybe you should join me and my family for Christmas dinner, and then I promise I'm going to bake you a proper fried egg.
Oh, that's very nice from you. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, that's great. And you know, I will take my own eggs with me. And do you have butter?
I'll make sure I have the butter.
Oké.
Thank you.
Oké.
Thank you.
Nou, ik denk dat het zo opgelost is, hè? Ja.
Yes.
Oké.
Bye.
Nou, dan kunt u naar vooruit kijken. Ja.
Bye.
Hoe is het? Nou, dat was een leuk verhaal, zeg. Oh ja, je kan je niet voorstellen.
And here now
Is dit een beetje klaar?
This is klaar.
Klaar. Oké.
This case.
Ja, we kunnen het niet zo goed tonen, hè, naar de camera.
Let's see if I can show just like this. Here.
Ja. Mag ik even ruiken?
And maybe I'll serve you so that you can taste it.
Ja. Dan doe dat dan even tijdens de commercial, hè, want we hebben nu even een commercial break. En dat is niet een echte commercial, tenminste we hebben geprobeerd om het zo weinig commercieel mogelijk te laten schijnen. Maar het is van een bekende winkel hier in de Archipelbuurt die belooft ook het Rode Kruis te steunen. Hè? Want daar gaat het toch de hele dag over, of nou ja, de hele uitzending over.
Yeah.
Van we moeten de mensen die niet zoveel te eten hebben in Nederland, die moeten we helpen. En dat wordt door het Rode Kruis gedaan. En wij moeten dat Rode Kruis om die reden steunen.
Ja.
Kunnen we nu naar die commercial toe?
Hallo, ik ben Floris van de Exoteron en ik heb een leuk verhaaltje over de vijgen die u zojuist gezien heeft. Het was op een gegeven moment zo dat een klant vroeg, wat moet ik met vijgen doen, hoe maak ik vijgen lekker? Nou, ik vertelde dat we er verschillende dingen mee kunnen doen. En één daarvan was, het is heel lekker met mascarpone. En toen stond er een mevrouw naast en die zei, ja, maar met mascarpone maak je een drol nog lekker. Wij van de Exoteron steunen het Rode Kruis in deze moeilijke tijd van corona.
De groentecurry is klaar. Nou, de groentecurry is klaar en ik krijg wat opgediend hier. Ik ben benieuwd of als die meneer Van Heugden komt, of hij dat ook lekker gaat vinden. Ja. Wauw, en hoe doe je dat nou? Want er zit een dingetje in het midden.
Yeah, because this is rice.
Oké.
You
Een
serve
mooi
it
bolletje rijst in het midden en daaromheen de groentecurry.
and then I garnish it a bit with,
Het oog wil ook wat.
and we garnish it with some coriander.
Alright. Wauw, dit ziet er geweldig uit. Hoe kan ik het laten zien zonder dat het eraf valt? En zal ik het gewoon even zo eten,
sure.
want dan mag je met een vork doen ook?
Je mag what you feel comfortable.
Oké.
Not too spicy.
Nou, ik proef ook echt nog de groenten, de celery. Paprika.
And also the cardamoms and the cinnamon. Not too salty.
En wat drinken we daarbij? What should we drink?
Normally we would serve only water because there are lots of spices. So if you have alcohol, then those are the ones which go against the spices that you have here. So we prefer to have something very simple.
Ja, er ging nog een telefoon over, geloof ik. Ja, we hebben hier 3 telefoons van de 3 bellers. Dus ja. Oké, dus we houden het simpel.
Ja.
Dan gaan we afsluiten, denk ik.
Nou.
Wil je nog iets zeggen tegen de...
No, I just hope that you all have enjoyed watching this show and you've learned something and hopefully I've managed to convince people that cooking Indian food is not really traumatically complicated, and I hope this will boost you to maybe make the dish tomorrow for your family or for Christmas, and last but not least to actually serve. What we really want to do is help Red Cross, Rode Kruis, in donating and contributing so that other people too can enjoy having a dinner.
Dankjewel, Wandana. Dankjewel voor deze uitnodiging en je gastvrijheid en je kookkunst.
Thank you.
Dankjewel voor het kijken. De opname blijft staan op de website, dus die kun je altijd nog eens een keer nakijken. En op de website kijkenenkoken.nl, daar kun je ook het recept vinden van wat Wanda heeft gekookt. En dan wensen we jullie een heel fijn kerstfeest, een mooie dagen in december. En denk dan even aan die virtuele extra gast die je kunt uitnodigen aan je tafel als je een bijdrage levert aan het Rode Kruis.
Ja.
We sluiten af met een boodschap met ook het Giro-nummer van het Rode Kruis erin. En we wensen jullie mooie dagen en veel voorspoed.
Bedankt.
Dag.
Dag. Namaste. Oh.
Ja? Oké. Nou, nog even een muziekje eronder.